morning, everyone. Hope you're having a good weekend. So I got a question from somebody about kind of visualizing for a new job, and just kind of this person's feeling frustrated that they've been visualizing for a new job and it's not here yet, and just this question of should I give up, and kind of feeling defeated a little bit, which I think we can all relate to, right? So I actually have some very specific experience with this type of thing, and so I'll share what I did, and then I'll also share some just general techniques for releasing on that. So years ago, I was in a job that I really didn't like. Long story short, the company had gotten acquired and everything kind of changed, and it was no longer the environment that I enjoyed previously. And I was really in a bad spot mentally. I just was so frustrated, and we get sucked back into the drama of life sometimes, right? And that's okay. In fact, that's kind of the point sometimes, right? The point is to be in this life. The point is to experience this life. That said, I got sucked back into the emotions and back into the junk, right? And was frustrated and wanted out, was struggling, and was just defeated, right? Kind of feeling just like this other person was feeling. And so finally, I'm just like, I had been at the company for 15 years, and so a lot of my identity was wrapped up in my success at that company and the identity of the company itself. And so I just began to let go of all of the things associated with me at that company. I became willing to just let go of how I felt about it, let go of all of the frustrations. And when I say let go, this is a choice, right? So picture yourself holding a pen, right? And you can just choose to drop the pen. And those emotions come sometimes moment to moment. Just choose to let it go. One of the biggest things, though, that I did that I think you will find helpful in this scenario, and this applies to anything, right? I let go of wanting to leave the job. And the wantingness, guys, again, for those of you, and I sometimes assume that everyone is kind of up on the letting go process. When we talk about this feeling of wanting, it's very different than a feeling of intention. Intention and attention on something is a healthy way to move forward and, do things in life, get things in life, all of that. The feeling of wanting is very much a state of lack, because it's this longing of, I really want this, I really want to be free of this, and just this, in my mind's eye, it represents to me as if you were trying to climb up a mountain of rubble, a mountain of pebbles, and the more you try to climb, the faster you slide down, right? And the letting go of that would simply be to just quit trying to climb that mountain, let go of that grasping feeling, and just settle back into letting it go. Just stop trying to climb it. This reminds me of somebody who said, why are you trying to move the mountain? The mountain is there for a reason, right? Just let it go. Meaning, let go of this scrambling feeling of trying to be free. Let go of wanting, this feeling of lack, this feeling of scrambling to be unstuck. Because by wanting to be unstuck, you are simply holding the stuckness in place, right? So all of the feelings that you want to be free, I just kind of let go. I was like, okay, well, if I stay at this job forever, I just let go of wanting to be free of it. is you, that is spirit, and just letting that kind of circulate through your body, right? You are so loved, even in the midst of these emotions, right? Even in the midst of emotions that potentially could be shameful. You're loved in that moment, right? So I just kept letting it all go. I just kept letting it go, letting my identity around the job go, letting the job itself go, letting go of wanting something different. And then what I did was I just kind of decided, like, how would I like to feel? And I just was like, I allow myself to have a job where I feel empowered. I feel I have autonomy, and I feel really excited about what I'm doing and good at what I do, right? Create a statement that is an allowing type of statement, but be sure to not incorporate the problem in the statement. Meaning, don't say, I allow myself to be free of this toxic job. Because again, in the visualization, you're creating the problem. I allow myself to make money in a way that feels empowering to me. I allow myself to come into money supernaturally. I allow myself to whatever it is and feel that feeling. And what's interesting, I'll just tell you the story a little bit. The company I was at, like, things that, just shocking things, right? CFO, who had been like kind of a pretty big jerk to everybody, like he was randomly fired and he found a better job with his family in California, and that's great. I love that, like, everybody won there, right? And like, he was obviously unhappy. His nature is not anger, but he obviously was unhappy, right? So he moved on, and I hope he's doing well, right? The CEO was fired, and he was able to go start a new company, and he's thriving now. And, you know, all of these huge, like, pillars, seeming pillars of the company came tumbling down. And it just showed me that those were pillars I had set up, right? And I just continued to let go. Just continued to let go. And continued to visualize and allow myself that statement. I allow myself. And the statement wasn't, it's not necessarily the affirmation that counts, the repetitions, right? It's more, the affirmation allowed me to set up a scene in my mind of what it felt like, right? So for me, the affirmation helped. If the affirmation doesn't help you, no problem. Just set your attention and intention on what you do want and continue to let go of the 3D. Even if it meant that I stayed at that company forever, I allow myself to make money in a way that's empowering. Who knows what would have happened had I stayed at the company, right? Maybe another opportunity at that company. So the other thing that happened is that magically somebody else called me in the industry and said, hey, look, I'm looking to hire somebody, and you seem to have built a pretty good team around you, and I just would love to have your advice on how to go about doing that. And I said, oh, my advice is to hire me. And he was like, I didn't even know you were open. Yeah, let's go. Right? And in the meantime, I had spent money on my resume. I was on LinkedIn applying for positions every day. I was doing the stuff in the 3D, guys, right? So like doing the things in the 3D, and I was still very frustrated at my job. I was still like, I absolutely freaking hate this, right? But I just continued to let those things go. The emotions came up, I let them go. I took what I thought was right action, and I just was doing it. And action is really not what matters, right? If you're inspired to do it, do it. If you feel like you should do it, do it, right? Just let go of the results. Continue to visualize. Continue to let go of what the 3D is showing you. Because honestly, when the 3D started to melt away, it was nuts. The things that were happening. Like nuts. Like things that I've never imagined would have happened. And that actually kind of caused me to be like, whoa, the fabric of reality is changing. This is cool. And I just kind of sat back, right? I was around it first step is to let go of wanting to be unstuck. Let go of wanting to be free. Let go of wanting to change. Stand up off of the mountain of rubble and allow yourself to just rest in peace for a moment. Okay. Let go of that wanting feeling. Acknowledge the 3D. Send it love. Even if you stayed at your job forever, send that love and acceptance. Okay, well, I let that go. And just go back internally to that feeling empowered. I allow myself to feel empowered. I allow myself to make X dollars in my own business. I allow myself to whatever it is. And then just feel that feeling of relief. Then you'll be naturally inspired. Things will naturally come about. I remember I had a vision at that time, and it was weird. It was like the vision showed me that it was like we were all in these, it was kind of in the spirit realm, and we were all in these little pools of learning. Like there was a pool of learning over here with a group of people in it. There was a pool of learning here with a group of people in it. And my pool of learning, the people that I worked with, I got this vision that Spirit just removed those people from my pool of learning and put them somewhere else. And then the person who I came to work with stayed in the pool of learning. I was like, oh, okay. And I'm not saying you need to have that kind of a vision. That's just sometimes how Spirit communicates to me. And if Spirit doesn't communicate to you that way, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen for you. It's just kind of what I saw. But yeah, let go of wanting to be unstuck in any way that's happening. Financially, if you're in a financial bind, that wanting, that trying to climb up the mountain of pebbles, let that go. Stand up off of that mountain and just stand on the solid floor. Quit trying to climb that mountain. Quit trying to move that mountain. Just let it be there. I allow myself to be financially stable. I allow myself to be debt-free and have tons of money in the bank. Notice I said debt-free, not get out of debt. Right? We don't want to create the problem in the statement. I allow myself to be debt-free and have tons of money in the bank. Right? So just kind of think about that. If you have any other specific questions, let me know. If you want to book a session with me, my website is seawithash.com. I'm going to be posting a podcast that I did with Brooke a couple weeks ago, where I kind of gave her a live reading, and I think she's included some of that. There's some personal information she's not going to share, which is great. She's included that in her podcast, some of it. So I will post later on. I will include in the comments her podcast. I believe she's on Spotify and all the things. Her website is liveunperfected.com, and I believe she has links to her socials there too. But that podcast should air tomorrow, and it's just kind of fun. So give my friend Brooke a